Like any powerful tool that has many valuable capabilities, Biz Bond can seem a little intimidating at first, but using Biz Bond is really as easy as 1, 2, 3. Over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about how to register, how to post your company's data, and how to start searching for leads. Registering. When you first get to Biz Bond, you'll probably see an opening screen like this. If you're not already registered, click on the First Time Users link here. This will bring you to the registration page. When you get there, just fill in your name, your email address, and a password that you'll remember. Keep in mind that if you don't put in your valid email address, we won't be able to contact you when there's a lead for you on the system. Check the boxes to confirm that you want to register for the free trial and that you understand the terms and conditions. After you click Save and Continue, the system will send you an email, assuming you provided a good email address, that you'll need to confirm in order to complete the registration process. You won't be able to search for leads if you don't confirm your email address. Click Continue on the response screen, but you're now done with step 1. The next step is to post your company's information. Remember, on Biz Bond, you have to put in your company's information in order to be able to see other companies' information. So let's get started. The next screen you'll come to will ask you for information like your company name, address, city, state, and contact information. The form should be self-explanatory, so when you're done filling it in, click Save and Continue to go on to the next step. The next screen may ask you for payment information. If you're like most people, you're not going to want to pay anything until and unless you see value in the system, which we hope you will. So click Continue to skip this step. If the system doesn't automatically take you to it, the next step is to put in your company description, which you can get to by clicking on the My Company button and then the company description link, just in case. Fill in the form with as much descriptive information as you can about your company. Most people copy and paste their company description from their company's website, but keep in mind that other users will be able to find you more easily if you use lots of good keywords that talk about what you do and why someone should buy from you in your description. When you're done, click Save and Continue to go on to the next step. The next step is where you put in what your company makes and/or sells, or in the parlance of Biz Bond, your company's products and services. So let's go ahead and tell other users what we offer. One of the ways that Biz Bond helps you find leads is by matching your company's products and services with other companies' needs. And of course, as you can imagine, if someone says they need your products or that they're in the market for your type of services, that ought to be a pretty good lead for you, right? Well, that's all well and good, but if you know anything about computers, you know that in order for a computer to be able to match your products with someone else's needs, we need to be able to standardize the data a little bit. The way that Biz Bond standardizes your products and services is to use what are called SIC codes and NAICS codes. These codes are simply a numbering system that assigns a unique code to every product and service there is. You can learn all about them and see all of them by clicking on the various help links on the page. But let's just go ahead and start posting so we can find some leads. Note that you don't have to actually know your company's SIC codes in order to use the system. Rather, Biz Bond will provide you with candidate codes if you put in keywords that describe what your company does. So, for example, if your company sells health insurance, you simply have to put into the search box various words that refer to the type of insurance your company sells. It's best to start with specific terms and then get more general as you build your list of products and services rather than the other way around. So let's start with health insurance and see what we get. Clicking on Search, I get 3 results. SIC code 632, Medical Service and Health Insurance. That sounds right, so let's check that one. And I get 2 NAICS codes, one for health insurance carriers and one for pet health insurance carriers. We're not carriers but brokers, so the first one's no good, and we certainly don't sell pet health insurance, so let's ignore that one too. If there are no more possibilities, we can click on the Submit button and it will post it to the database. As you can see, we've now got our first product listed in the system. I can delete it if I make a mistake, and notice that I can also update it, which is important because you have to update your entries periodically to declare that they are still current, but at least we're in there. But before we move on to the next section, posting our company's needs, let's just go back in and see if there are any more SIC codes or NAICS codes for health insurance. We want to do this because we want to make sure that other users can find us when they need health insurance, and if there are other codes in the system that they're using, it might not happen if we don't have them included in our list. So this time, let's just use the word health. Now, you can see a bit of a pattern here. There appear to be lots of entries with the word health in it. Some of them are irrelevant, but others are right on target. I'll check the good ones, click Next to post them, and see if there are any more, and I'll be done. I can also do the same thing with the word insurance and other relevant words like agent and broker, and maybe pick up a few more SIC codes and NAICS codes, because I want to make sure that other people can find me when they need health insurance, and if they're using slightly different SIC codes or NAICS codes, they might not. As you can see when I've finished, I found quite a few codes that pertain to my business. Now, if someone is looking for health benefits or health insurance, I'm pretty confident they're going to be able to find me. I can now move on to posting my company's needs. If the system doesn't automatically take you there when you click on Save and Continue, just click on My Company and Needs, and it will bring you to the screen to post your company's needs. Now, if you're like most people in sales, unless you're the owner of the company, you know precious little about what your company buys. Remember though, if you don't post your company's needs, that is, what your company needs to buy, you won't be able to search for other companies' needs, and that's where many of the leads are. There are two simple solutions to this problem. One is to ask your company's CFO to post them. He or she can get their own ID by clicking on the My Info tab under the User Management page, or you can simply ask your CFO for a copy of your company's chart of accounts, which is the list of products and services that your company buys. It's actually better to get your CFO to post the data, since they can then use the system to do their own purchasing. But let's assume for the moment you're doing it for now, as if you're the owner of the business. So now, if we go to the screen to post our company's needs, you'll see something almost identical to what we use to post our company's products and services. The reason is that, as I mentioned before, we use the very same SIC codes and NAICS codes to post needs as we do to post products and services. This, of course, ensures that you can get matches. So let's go through posting a few needs and show that it works the very same way. Notice, by the way, that the status bar at the top of the screen, what we refer to as your win bar, is starting to turn green. Remember that if you post all your data and keep it up to date, other users will see, via your win bar being green, that you want to participate in the win-win that underlies the success on Biz Bond. Alright, so go back to needs. I know, for example, that we're in the market for a new ISP, an Internet Service Provider, because we're not happy with our current one. So if I type Internet into the search box, let's see what we get. Notice that we get a couple of SIC codes and lots of NAICS codes. This is just because NAICS codes are more modern, but note that a lot of applications and companies still use SIC codes, so both are worthwhile. Anyway, let's see if we can find what we're looking for. Here I can check off Internet Service Provider under the SIC codes, but I have to scroll pretty far to find it in the more detailed NAICS codes, so I think I'll go back to the form and be more specific. You can see the SIC code that I already posted here already. Searching with the term Internet Service Provider seems to have gotten me what I'm looking for on the NAICS codes, so I check them off, click Submit, and I'm good to go. Notice, by the way, that there is a column where you can declare whether a need is current, that is, where you currently are in the market for a solution, or latent, that is, where you might buy something periodically, but you're not actively looking for a solution right now. You can declare needs to be current or latent anytime and change them anytime, depending on whether you're actively looking for a new solution or if it's something that's on the back burner. Doing this will help potential vendors approach you when it's the right time and avoid approaching you when it isn't. To finish up entering your company's needs, you just keep going, like you did with your products and services, but using your company's chart of accounts instead of your line card. Biz Bond even provides some suggested lists of categories if you click on the help links on the page. Here's a list for small businesses, for example. You can also, by the way, post any personal needs that you have, such as if you need to buy a new car, groceries, or anything else that you might want to leverage and maybe get a good deal on. And of course, the more you put in, the more win-wins you'll be able to participate in. So it's a good idea to be pretty aggressive here. So here's a partial list of my company's needs when I'm done. Typically, a small business might buy 30 or 40 different products and services regularly, and of course, as a consumer, you typically have hundreds of needs at any given time that you can put in. You can also, by the way, put in if you need labor, utilities, or anything else you need help with. By doing so, you'll be able to attract multiple vendors who will compete for your business on the basis of price, service, and quality, which of course is an important way in which your company can improve its profitability. Okay, since this is just an overview, we're going to skip over how to post your company's organization chart and how to post leads, both of which are very important, but let's get right to searching for leads now, since I have my basic data in and I need some sales. So let's now click on the Search tab and on the Basic Search link underneath it. This brings up the basic search form where you can start to look for leads. Since in this example I sell health insurance, I'm going to put the word health in the search box and click Submit, just like I did when I was posting my company's products and services. When I do this, the system is going to look for any entries that include the word health in them. Keep in mind that basic search is going to look in the company descriptions table, the products and services table, the needs table, the leads table, and all the other tables in the system. This is unlike advanced search where you can choose which tables to search. But since I'm just looking for companies that need health insurance, I'm going to focus on the entries in the needs table and maybe the leads table. This is an example of what you would get as a result. As you can see, quite a few people have posted needs for health insurance, or at least something that has the word health in it. But focusing on the first result for health insurance, I find a user named Joseph Rack who seems to be in the market. I can then click on his details button and find out something about him and his company. Here I can see, for example, that he's in Palmyra, Pennsylvania, and that he seems to own a telemarketing company. That's fine. We write insurance in Pennsylvania, and a telemarketing company would be a good customer. Also, I can see his organization chart because I had previously posted mine, and I can see it appears to be a small company, but since we write for small companies too, we're still okay. So I can now click on his name, which brings up the message screen. Here I can write him a short note telling him that I noticed on Biz Bond that he was in the market for health insurance and inquiring if I can help. I click send message and it will immediately show up in Joe's inbox. When he gets his regular notification from the system, or when he signs in, he's going to see this message and be able to respond. Hopefully I'll have what he's looking for and we'll be able to do some business together. But that's all there is to it, at a high level anyway. There's certainly a lot more to Biz Bond, so be sure to check out some of the other features, and if you need help, just call. Other than that, remember that the more you put in, the more you'll get out of the system, but that should get you started. Thanks, and good selling.